about Opendoor and Zillow. They just recently announced that they're going to work together, and we're getting a lot of feedback from some consumers, our own consumers, right? And then a lot of real estate agents. I want to show you kind of like the history that Zillow has had really in this whole world of buying property, turning it around and flipping it, or selling it to the consumer directly. I want to show to you, this is all my opinion, why we should be concerned with Zillow doing this. And obviously, I've got some great articles for you. So pay attention. There's also a great video that I want to show you going back to 2019. But first, let's start with one of the latest articles. We've got Zillow partners with Opendoor to create a home buying app. And I highlighted a few sections here for you. I'm going to zoom in here for you so you can kind of read this with me. The company recently announced forming a multi-year partnership with Opendoor Technologies that will enable sellers on the Zillow platform to seamlessly request an Opendoor offer to sell their home. Opendoor offers will be available on Zillow, and customers will be able to use the service as a standalone offering or package it with other Zillow home shopping services like financing, closing, and agent selection. Now, don't think that for a minute Zillow is not going to send those to their Zillow Premier agents, right? They're taking the data and they're saying, hey, since we control the internet when it comes to home search, we're going to just sell it to the Zillow Premier agents because that's still their number one actual money-making product, selling leads to agents. That's where they actually net money. That was their only profitable business in 2021, which is nuts, right? So let's dive in deeper here. We know choice is important for customers. This is Zillow, right? Jeremy Wacksman, Chief Operating Officer. We know choice is important for customers who can make the best decision when they see all of their selling options up front, including selling on the open market with a Zillow Premier partner and getting a cash offer from Opendoor. Here goes further. By bringing together Zillow's market-leading audience, right? They do own the internet when it comes to home searches, and Opendoor's e-commerce platform, more customers will have the option to sell to Opendoor and save themselves the stress and uncertainty of a traditional sale process. That's from the Opendoor president, Andrew Lowe. I mean, what is that saying to you subliminally when you're reading that? Right? First off, that the process sucks. And to be fair, the process is kind of hard, but stressful, right? Depends on what the agent is. That's just saying overall, throwing all agents in a bucket and saying, hey, pretty much the current world that we live in sucks. Agents suck. This is why you need us, right? That's the interpretation. Again, that's just my opinion. But let's go over to the second article. This one's by Housing Wire and Real Trends, titled "You Can Now Sell Your Home on Zillow to Opendoor." I'm sorry, you can now sell your home on Zillow to ... to Opendoor. Miss those dots. Says, we know choice is important. Again, the exact same thing for customers, and they can make the best decision when they see all of their selling options up front, including selling on the open market with Zillow Premier Agent partners and getting cash offer from Opendoor. That's Jeremy Wacksman, exact same quote they used, right? Obviously, it's important. Opendoor on Wednesday, that was last week, also announced the launch of a new product called Exclusives. Check this out. For a second, I want you to pay attention to this one as real estate agents and the consumer, because us as real estate agents in most of the United States, we're not allowed to market homes off market. It's just, we can't do that. And now what we're seeing here directly coming in from Opendoor, read this with me. It says exclusives, right? I'll move my little mouse here with you, which an Amazon-like marketplace where homes are listed on Opendoor 14 days prior to being listed on the MLS. Keep on reading with me. The properties listed on the platform are on a first-come, first-served basis, eliminating bidding wars and price negotiations. Prospective homebuyers can reserve and fill out a contract for the home entirely online, right? That's a very interesting thing. And if you keep on reading somewhere, I don't know where I put this part, but I think it's further on. It also says, look, if you have an agent, we won't pay for the real estate agent, but you certainly can, consumer. We're going to put that on you. All right. And so when I start reading things like that, it goes against what they're saying to the agent population, saying, hey, we're for you. We've got your back. We want you to win. But hold on, we're going to compete against you, and we're going to make it more difficult for the consumer to go to you, because guess what? If they go to us, it's a lot easier, and we're going to take a piece of your commission too. That's how it's going to work, and that's what's happening now, right? Because at the end of the day, let's just listen to Richard Barton. Here's CEO of Zillow. This is about three and a half years ago on an interview. It's a minute long, the clip that I have, but it outlines why they're going the way they're going. Now, this is before they failed with their iBuyer program. Now they've teamed up with Opendoor, but I'm going to play this with you. Okay, so listen to this. Turn up the volume. I'm going to put my mic there with you. Here we go. And
it's going extremely well. Do you think even further a step forward about other avenues you could go into with mortgages, other aspects?
Yeah, it turns out that the house transaction is the hub of a series of really big, important, and potentially profitable transactions. Getting the mortgage, the title, the escrow, moving, telecommunication services, all this happens and changes and is keyed off of the house transaction. And we are making investments in most of these businesses, specifically mortgages, title, and escrow right now, and creating an integrated digital platform so that one day, the dream is that we dream one day of you having kind of almost a trade-in experience with your house, where you're standing in a house, the Zillow offers house that we own. You've been there 15 times, you've let yourself in with the Zillow app.
you let yourself in with a Zillow app. Why? Because you don't need an agent.
We know who you are and where you live. We've already have a mortgage ready to go. We have an offer ready for your house when you're ready to transact, and you, with one click, can decide to move.
That's it. That's what they want to do. They've been really adamant about it, right? And look, for those of you buying Zillow leads, no problem. I bought Zillow leads for years, and I love them. They do great. I just want you to go in with your eyes open, knowing that they're out to take you out, or at least take a massive portion of your commission. And now they partnered with Opendoor. Right? I want you to be aware as you're doing this, because I don't want you to come back and say, well, no, they're really on our side. I don't want you to buy that bullshit, because it's not true. Not from their actions. I want you to pay attention to what you're doing and what they're doing and say, hey, if I'm going to use Zillow, I know what they're going to do. And look, don't forget that they tried to do this before, right? And they're going to keep on trying. They're going to keep on trying. They're going to keep on trying to do this. Why? Because he said, look, there's so much money to be made here, and we want all pieces of it, right? Let me go to the top of this to show you what this is. This came out in June, so about 2 months ago. Zillow's $6 billion home flipping business was a disaster. Now a cooling housing market could foil its comeback plan. All right, so let's read this with me. This aspect of Zillow's business has never been the sexiest part of what it does, right? That's the lead generation business. It says, after all, lead generation has been around for decades, going back to telemarketers and even door-to-door salesmen, but its financials might get you going. In 2021, the division that included lead gen was the company's second largest, but pay attention, and the only profitable portion of its balance sheet. So they're making money from us. This is the only positive money they have, because we're funding all of their other experiments, which is no problem. The leads do work, right? We have to give them due where it's due. And the leads, when we use them, we closed, right? But don't buy the crap that they're going out and saying, hey, we've got your back. It's not like that. Here we go. Let's go further, because it gets sexier and better. By spring of 2021, the market had overheated. We watched this, right? To the point where Zillow's much lauded algorithm, their estimate, the backbone of its home flipping strategy, right, was struggling to make accurate pricing predictions. This is where I tell the consumers, hey, look, they already failed one time where they put all of their eggs in one basket. They screwed it up, their algorithm, their Zillow's estimate. It sucked. It failed them. So why are you trusting it, right? Believing its own inflated numbers, says analysts, the company began overpaying for homes all across the country. And you know why that's important? Because the new report came out, and it shows, and I'm going to show this to you. So hang in here. It shows where they predict the market is going, and it's kind of nutso. So give me 5 more minutes because that's a beautiful part of this too. Let's go a little deeper here. Zillow's trigger-happy algorithm, that's the Zestimate, didn't hurt just the company. As Zillow paid top dollar for homes across the country, it likely helped to bid up prices amid a stretch that we now know to be the hottest in the U.S. housing market's tabulated history, which, of course, paying attention to why these companies coming in, buying a whole mess load of property, we know it was about 30%, right? That's crazy. 30% of all properties being purchased over the last 2 years were from investors like a Zillow, right? And then you can keep on reading this article. I'll put this in. Now, this one right here is from Opendoor. It's the complaint that was filed. It says United States of America before the Federal Trade Commission. This is the complaint. It says Opendoor Labs, Inc., a corporation. Now, if we go down, it's a lot to read. I went through this twice, right? And I probably still missed a whole bunch of stuff. I want you to read this towards the bottom, and I'm going to put this up here too. It's an open document. It says Opendoor, right? Because they teamed up with Opendoor. Opendoor transaction data confirms, right here, that consumers who sold to Opendoor have lost money compared to what they would have received through a traditional sale. Opendoor's data shows that as of February 2020, the average resale price of its homes was blacked out. However, we're over here now. However, consumers received only an average due to Opendoor's lower offer prices, deductions for repairs, and fees. If those consumers, here's the good part, if those consumers had instead sold on the market for the price Opendoor received on resale, they would have thousands more in net proceeds, even if they had paid the 9% Opendoor claimed they would pay in agent fees, sellers' concessions, and overlap costs, and paid for repairs. So this is what we're going up against, right? We're going up against Opendoor and Zillow. And yes, Zillow owns the internet when it comes to home searches, and Opendoor does a very good job in this process. But at the end of the day, we got to call it for what it is. They just want to make more money. They want to get in the middle of every transaction to take more and more. Zillow wants to do that. You heard Richard. He wants to get in the middle of everything. He's like, hey, you know what? This is a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity here over many years. We can make a lot of money if we do this right. And so that's what you're looking at right there. They're not approaching it from the point of this altruistic way and saying, hey, I want to help. We want to help agents. We really want to help the consumer. This is what pisses me off. They should just say, hey, look, we want to make more money, and I think we can do it this way. And along the way, we're going to make things better. And we're going to work with some agents. You know what? We're going to only work with the agents that pay us. They're going to be Zillow Premier Agents. And if you can't afford it, you can't. But we won't work with you. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear hiding behind lies and then us trying to put things together like this, was just absurd to me. And here, let me share with you what one of my friends, Saul Klein, who's a leader in the real estate industry, by the way, if you don't know him, he said, he announced this too. This is how some agents are responding to this. So it's important for you to pay attention. Here, I'll zoom in for you. Zillow and Opendoor partner. He did this August 5th. 2 companies with cash in search of profitability. He got PR, Newswire. He says this is the announcement. Now here at the bottom, it says, they are scrambling. Look at the margins, market caps, and multiples of these companies and other major brokerage brands, and you begin to see a deeper pattern. If you can't make money in this blazing hot market, right, referring to last year, time to look at other options, right? Look at Zillow right here, right? This is the margin, 0.4%, and then look at Opendoor's, right? Negative 0.5%. Now, we look deeper because this is important to me. This is where I want you to pay attention. This is the part I've been waiting for you to watch, because this is what Zillow is predicting is going to happen in the real estate world. And this is why they're like, hey, it's a great opportunity to buy low, right? Hopefully without including an agent. And if we do, then we're going to take a piece of it because we're going to take a piece of that and everything else, right? This is what they're banking on. Zillow, economist, this is what they're saying. Here's the home price shift coming for your local housing market. I'm going to shrink my little face on the left here so you can read this article with me, okay? I'll put this on the YouTube channel as well in the description. It says not only does Zillow disagree with the home price correction narrative, the Seattle-based home listing site thinks the pandemic housing boom has some gas left in the tank. Between July 2022, that's last month, and June 2023, Zillow predicts that the U.S. home prices will rise another 7.8%, so almost 8% there. And this is how regional house prices are expected to shift over the coming year, according to Zillow. Red would be, here, I'm going to see if I can zoom in. Red would be negative, right? And then blue, darker blue, you get more positive. So this is what they're saying it's going to look like. You're going to see even Boise, Idaho, which we're seeing is already dropping in some prices and getting difficult. They say there's going to be a rise. And what do we have? Not Phoenix, but it was Flagstaff. They're saying it's high. There's just no red area here, guys. This is how they're looking. This is why I look at the consumer and I'm like, consumer, are you paying attention to what they're saying? They're the only ones out there saying that we're actually going to go really deep into this positive, right? We've already had their algorithms screw everything up the first round for them and multiple times. Are you really going to look at this? Or if we scroll down, are you going to look at something like this from Moody's Analytics, right? This is Moody's saying, hey, in the next 2 years, by the way, predicting into 2 years is absurdly crazy. You can barely predict what's going to happen in the next 6 months. They're saying up to 2024. That's nuts. But they're saying this is what it looks like, and it's a lot more balanced based on what's happening. Now, I'm going to read this right here, not the top one. It says, keep in mind that some of this home price growth is already baked in on the data collection and home transactions lag. It's very true, they lag. Many of the home sales that will go final in August and September actually occurred back in June and July. This is referring to these markets over here. Now, this is what Moody's is saying is probably going to happen overall. Boise, we're going to see a drop. We're going to see Flagstaff, all the red and pink, right? We're going to see some type of a drop. The white-ish should be more neutral. And then the blue, we're seeing that's going to go up. I don't necessarily agree with this one either, right? There are other ones that I agree with, especially somebody predicting into 2024. Can we just get real for a second? Predicting into 2024 is crazy. We can't even predict what's going to happen next month. But, people can't live with uncertainty, so they need predictions. I'm just telling you, right now, we're not crashing. That's all I can tell you. But predicting that far in, that's ridiculous. This is why I hate reading stuff like this. But, this is what we have to read. Now, let me show you what Moody's also said, and then we'll transition over into one other thing for you because I want to read this to you. It says, Moody's home prices to fall in these 210 housing markets. And if you scroll in, you get to see the details, but I wanted to read this because these highlight the areas of where they think, based on their algorithm, what's going to happen. Moody's Analytics forecast model predicts that the Villages in Florida is poised to see the biggest drop in housing prices between the fourth quarter of 2022 and the fourth quarter of 2024. Moody's Analytics predicts home prices in the Village fall 12.8%. Not too far behind are Punta Gorda, Florida, 11%. Spokane, Washington, 9.4%. Another Florida here, Cape Coral. Another Florida, Ocala. Lake Havasu City, Arizona, and a few other places. Here's what I don't get, right? Because I'm looking at these areas, and I'm looking prices are pretty smooth. We're looking at inventory also being low, and interest rates. Everybody was calling interest rates, oh my gosh, we're going to get to 8, 9, 10. And what's happening? It's actually reversing. Because people forget that in a recession or in a time of economic hurt, what happens is investors, they buy more bonds, more 10-year treasury bonds. And what does that do to the interest rate for mortgages? It drops it, right? And look, interest rates aren't even that high to start with. So we're estimated to get back into the 4s. Earlier last week, we were already high 4s, 4.99%. So here's the fact. We don't know what's going to happen. But Zillow predicting that we're going to go up that high, that's kind of crazy. And Moody's predicting we're going to go that low up until 2024. That's also crazy. Pay attention out there and know that when people are predicting that far into it, sums up, right? And so I want to have a solution for you too. And I want you to pay attention to what's happening around you. Here, I'm going to end with this. I'm going to read something to you that I wrote only just a few days ago when I discovered what was happening with Opendoor and Zillow. It says, this is a relationship business. It is. Don't ever forget that. The lesson for the weekend, I was writing it, keep working on your relationships, keep creating a stronger brand, keep growing on social media, keep on giving value to your core database. Here's Zillow doing it again, I said. They make sure that they control where the consumer goes. They own that. This way, they can send it to the Zillow Premier Agent, one who pays Zillow monthly. They're using our data to drive traffic to sell to the consumer, or to sell the consumer a home, or to sell their home and take a piece of every part of the transaction. You heard Richard on the video. And they're going to find ways to continually make more money, even if they're negative in some things. Now, this is how I interpreted it. 2 ways. There's many ways, though. You can interpret it in many ways, I said, but I see 2 that stand out. Number 1, they want to eliminate the agent that doesn't pay to play with Zillow. That's just it. They think that anybody paying Zillow Premier is worth it. And typically they say, oh, those are the better agents anyway. So if you can't hang with us, if you can't pay us, we're not going to bring you into this world that we created. Why? Because we control the internet. Number 2, right? Let's go to number 2. Even if you pay to play, Zillow wants a piece of every part of the transaction. They want to make themselves an integral part of the real estate transaction so that the real estate agent becomes less and less important in the future. And you know what happens then? They just try to eliminate a bigger part of you, which means you get less and less pay as well. And the only way to fight that is to build stronger relationships. If it's not Zillow and Opendoor, it's going to be somebody else. I'm just tired of these companies coming in and saying one thing to our face, and even in some cases believing it, and then they realize they don't answer to us. They don't answer to the consumer. They answer to the bottom line, like, are they making money with this or not? Because the stock is everything. And that determines which way they go. And they see an opportunity here to make more money. Of course they're going to try to disrupt an industry. But look, I want you to embrace it. We're going to have competition from everybody. Embrace it. If it's Zillow, Opendoor, whoever it is, get ready. Build relationships. Use social media, because we can outsmart anybody as long as we do this in our niche areas. Nobody can beat you in the niches. Nobody. So pay attention to what's happening. Don't complain. Accept it, move on. If you can, don't use these companies. If you can, do it with your eyes open. Know that they're trying to get you, and just keep going. Just keep learning, keep going deeper. Thanks for tuning in. Look, any questions, any comments, go ahead, pile them on here. Text me, email me, chat me up. Have an awesome day, everybody.